And how have you been? So here we are recording, and we're Thursday, February 22nd on session 6.
27th.
Pardon?
27th.
26th?
27th.
Yeah, we're on the 27th of February and session 6 out of the 9. Okay, so how are you coming along with have you worked at all with the tonal ladder?
I did a little bit after our call, the next day or two, but then it just kind of slipped
All
my
right. Well, today in working with your mom, it'll be really, really helpful. I want to show you some things of how you can use that in real time in very practical means, not just with your mom, but when you're with your kids or if you're in your work or between you and you when you're looking at things to help you connect to from the inside out and to be kind and gentle and mothering to yourself in such a way that your energy can shift and you can start to show up differently, showing up more of you in the situation. So let's first start with source spot. So go down to your tailbone. And then down to the center of the earth. And then open up that cover there, Miriam, at the center of the earth. And then bring your focus up to the source spot and open up the cover there. And whatever you notice that's coming up, or maybe you go up into your mind, or maybe a sensation comes up, whatever happens is totally fine. Just notice that and catch the moment you notice it, and then bring your focus back down to the center of the earth and open up, and then back up to your source spot and open up. Now start noticing the nuance and catching when you go off. That's always happening. That's a given. It's catching and then choosing to reconnect. That's empowering. And if you can, open your eyes. You don't have to be, I mean, you'll see the screen in front of you. You'll see the woman sitting, in the computer on the other side. Like I'm seeing there's a woman on the other side of my screen, this beautiful face, yet my focus is in, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing this right along with you. Yeah, so why don't you look at me as I'm doing this? What are you noticing?
About what?
What do you sense, and what do you like when you, like, here we are, two people sitting on the, opposite sides of the screen. Can you sense that I'm doing something, or do you just see me looking at you and speaking?
Well, I can see that you're focused in. I mean, it's clear that your attention is lower, than your body. Yeah, I can see that you're connecting to something. I'm a little distracted because my sitter hasn't shown up, and my son has diabetes, which we're constantly monitoring. So let me just ask my husband to check in with the sitter
Sure.
that he can handle it because he's out. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is perfect. So just notice where you went off. No right or wrong, just, notice that. And then note where the off is. And then choose to reconnect. Either there's no right or wrong, just intuitively go to wherever connects you easiest, to the center of the earth or to the source spot. Yeah, I can see, I can feel it, I can see it in you. Yeah, now go down further and open up more. Okay, and then go back, just notice, where another residue of the babysitter, whatever the distraction is. Allow it to be there. That's life. There'll always be something. Come back to your source spot, open up there. Like that's another way to do it. Go to your source spot and then anchor it in even more in the center of the earth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then sometimes it'll just be go straight down. And now open them both up. Just notice how the more you do that, it just centers you even more, grounds you even more. And now just notice whatever the thought was in your head. Whatever, doesn't matter. There may be a sensation that gets triggered. Just notice it. And then just choose to go back down to the center of the earth. That's the continuum. There's never a point where it's just static. Your power really lies with your choice in the moment of where you're choosing to focus. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to, give me a little brief on the mom stuff. Yet as you do, I invite you to look at me in the screen and practice continuing what you're doing while you speak about your mom. Whatever will happen, will happen. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, my sitter's not coming today. Just having them communicate that. Okay. So I'm going to practice tuning into my source spot or into the earth while I talk about my mom.
Yeah, just even while you're talking now, you may get another text. Life is, life happens. The first foundational step is to practice just noticing and going back. It's, like a mindfulness practice of going, just noticing and then returning. It's another version or an inner version of the, remember this, where you chose a hand and then you just, it's that, and see if it's not, I'm doing this exercise to find when. No, it's like real life and just practicing, noticing and choosing to reconnect in present time.
Okay.
Okay.
So what am I doing? I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you want to focus on?
I mean,
How would
I
you like, well, let's ask it this way. So, what would you like to experience or receive such at the end of this session when we hang up, you'll go, God, I'm so glad I was there. That was so worth it. What is that you would like?
so that is all right. I'm focusing in. It is removing the barrier, the shield, the armor to connecting with her.
Where do you feel it? I'm your mom.
I feel it in
Put your finger on it.
so it's like a shield. It starts at the sacrum and it's maybe up as high as here
Oh,
even. I feel it
you're
on the ground.
right.
Yeah, like a bubble.
Yeah, okay. So like total shut off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now just notice that. Can you feel that? What does it feel like?
Feels like metal. It's like steel.
Oh, okay. Now go to your chakras, energy centers, field, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. So when you look at that shield, and then you go to the tonal ladder, what sound would soothe that? With not the tone yet, what area? Just put your finger on it without thinking about it.
What sound would soothe that?
What area? Like, well, a shield, it's like not safe. It's like shielding. Okay, so if that's what's happening with me, what wants safety? I mean, the first thing that comes to me is my solar plexus. I just put my finger there. So ask yourself in the first place, there's no right or wrong. Just let your body speak.
The heart. It's different. It's like the heart and the solar plexus and in different ways.
All right, well, which is first? Look and see which is, and there's no right or wrong.
Solar plexus.
Solar plexus, okay. So now, next step is ask your solar plexus, what tone would really soothe that? And let me know what that is. It might not make any sense, and it totally doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a high screechy E sound.
Oh, it's the E. Okay, so we'll do this together, all right? Silently. There won't be any, well, do you want it with the sound or silent sound?
Whatever
Ask,
works.
well, ask, I'm asking you to ask that place, what does it want? What will soothe it?
Seems like it wants out loud.
Okay, so then let's go to the E and focus that E. The E is going to be it's that E sound, but it's focused into solar plexus. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
One note to one breath.
I can still hear it. That's so weird. The
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, I know. Funny things happen. It's the cool thing about.
Yeah, I was like, are you singing? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I mean, when I did that, what I was experiencing was this image of glass kind of shattering and all these tears kind of welling up in this space, like something was breaking that it's been holding it all back.
Uh-huh. Okay, now let's continue silently. How's that?
It was really visual. I was like getting this image of all these chassids, like just standing around looking at me disappointed. Um, and I'm like, I'm trying, I need your help. Like, I don't want this either.
Well, so now let either with voice or silently. So that sound, the E, it's, ethereal. So it's, the larger sense, but you're focusing it in your solar plexus, which is your, ego, personality. And notice what happens when you allow yourself to be, it's like this, you could approach the sound, it's like a cradle. You're being a mother to yourself. It's your voice. And the thing is, it's not really anyone's voice. It's just coming through all of us. I mean, it's like there has been some kind of switch that's happened because the technology is reflecting things now, which it never did before. And even on the same computer. But that really isn't the issue. The issue is remember the vibration, it's always there. So allow that, vibration to be mother to you. All right, and let's see what happens. If they're Hasids, they're saying whatever they're saying. Just, allow yourself, like take that as, all right, it's another going off focus and just choose to go back to focus. What do you notice now?
I'm just working with it. I don't know, there was when I first started just this time, I was seeing my grandmother and lots of sadness and my mother. But then I was just working with it as if it was, my mother energy, the E, and just working with that. I mean, it seemed like the container, the area that it was working with was growing. It wasn't as small, wasn't limited to that chakra anymore. It was like more spacious.
Yeah, so see how you're feeling now when you think of your mom.
I think of my mom, and this pulling in happens around my solar plexus. It's like I just automatically, like this sinking and the shielding thing just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a shitty feeling. The great news is it's your shitty feeling, like your mother isn't physically sitting in the room with you. Well, that's pretty great news because you're the one who can do something about it. Like now, you don't have to wait, right? So feel where's the shitty feeling? Where are you feeling it now?
In front of the solar plexus.
Okay. So then ask that what it wants. It might be something totally different in this now moment.
Wants to feel safe.
Wants to feel safe. Okay. And then ask that part what sound would make it feel safe? What would soothe it? What would make it trust and feel safe to be right
Like
now?
a high pitched ah sound.
Ah, me, ah?
Ah.
Okay. All right. So and does it want to hear it out loud or silently?
Out loud.
Okay. So then let's focus that to that solar plexus.
More
Ah.
of like wanting this high, like ah.
Did you hear that in the
Yeah,
technique? That is so amazing.
yeah. That's what happened last time.
That is so amazing. I know. So see how it feels now.
It feels scared.
Okay, so that's the next feeling. So feel the scared. And what does it need to feel safe?
It's like it needs to vomit.
All right, so that vomit feeling. Let's see what would soothe it right now. I don't mean to do something to get a result, just what is it asking for? Allow it its feeling.
Wants to feel heard.
Uh-huh. Okay. And what sound wants to be heard?
So it sounds like ho.
All right, and what area is it?
Solar plexus.
Okay. All right. So then let's sound that.
Uh,
Yeah, so what's your experience now?
Um, so now it feels like there's kind of a little shell, like a glass shell or bubble, but it's not nearly as dramatic as the one that was there before. I was calling in help to work with it because it was like there was metal and there was glass and there were layers and it was so thick, and things feel a little more open now, but there's still kind of a bubble, but it's feels more doable. Before it felt kind of impossible.
Hmm. Okay, so imagine, so you've got that bubble or whatever it feels like inside. Now imagine that, uh, is there is there something you're wanting to address with her, or is it a general thing, or what is it that, is it something you're wanting to say? Did something happen and it's just bringing up the whole bujalas that stops you from addressing it? What's,
I don't really, I can't say I really understand it except that it never felt safe to talk to her. And so I just shut down at a really early age, um I shut down in one area and then it just became really easy to shut down in more and more and more areas.
mhm.
Easy is relative. It was also awful, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Um, so that was then, this is now. So where are you now? Where it's like, what are you wanting now where that is coming up? Is it in a, is there a specific something that is happening right now that you would like to show up differently? Or it's just the general how you're showing up to the relationship
yeah, I'm really not showing up to it. I'm avoiding it even when I'm with her. So I don't, it's not in alignment
with who
with
you
who
are?
I am, who I want to be.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, the good news with that is also is that you really don't have to be, because it really is an issue between you and you. You know, something that it's like mother. So, we come through mother's womb. So there's this, we have this symbiotic relationship with mother. And then there's this point where if until we, all right, so then there's the umbilical cord, and that's an energetic tie. And that umbilical cord, if it doesn't get cut, there's still that connection, even though the physical umbilical cord has been cut. And until the emotional cut has been made, you can't really, your movement forward is limited because uh, it's still tied to that old, to that dynamic. And that dynamic is how we show up in the world. So the detachment with love first comes and must come from yourself, towards yourself. Because in your doing that, you are showing up for yourself. I mean, there's no way that you can show up with her. And it's vulnerable. It is. And as time goes, and I don't really see this addressed a lot in our polite society, but we're all really dealing with it. I see it with my clients. I watch it with myself. Half the reason I'm in LA is to be close to my mom. And all the residual stuff comes up. And I've been very consciously at this for 30 years. You know, so it's like been around the block many, 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 many times. And the gift of it is that as you do that, you're serving both, you're serving yourself, most importantly. You're serving everyone in that way. I don't have to tell you, we're all serving as gifts for one another to stir this stuff up so that we can free ourselves and be freed to be the glorious beings who we already are, just, covered up with all those shields. I watched this movie last night, and the guy in the movie was a comedy, and he made this like human, he liked crabs, and so he was an inventor. He made this like crab shell, like a crustacean that you could go, and it had Wi-Fi and everything in it, but you could just kind of like disappear in plain sight when you felt that stuff coming on. But it was like impenetrable, the shield. Yet when you allow yourself to penetrate your own inner shield, then the outer shield gets to come down and you are protected. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so take that next. Is it still there, or maybe it's shifted again?
The bubble?
Yeah. Did it shift again?
It's changing a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working on the chords. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that about the cords between me and my mother, because that was big, and it was here, kind of same areas. So
it is. There's an energetic codependency, and it's such a fine line too, that even in those places where you may be clearer, you may find yourself, you take an action or you say something, and in a moment, it's like innocent, like towards yourself. Only afterwards you go, fuck, what? How did I do that again? It's the old blah, blah, blah. But it's not that it's the old blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's like the smaller thing coming up because you are releasing it. And it's not about um, things coming up or not. They always do. It's like roto-rooter, it's like rinse and repeat, and each time it gets cleaner and cleaner and freer and freer and freer and freer. I think the bill of goods that we sell ourselves, where we fuck ourselves over so much, is that we believe that at some point it's all done. It's not my experience. That it's all done when we're no longer in our bodies. But if you're in a body, there's another lesson to be learned. That's why we are in bodies. That's why we're on earth it's a game of expansion, and then there's contraction. So if you will take that, if you can take that towards this issue, and number one, it's already being more kindly towards yourself. And then two, when you meet that, like just right now, even as I'm talking and you're listening, there'll be stuff coming up, right?
yeah, also my son's blood sugar is crashing, so I'm just kind of freaking out. It's
okay. Oh, well, this is a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's got his higher power too. You're not his God. He's got a higher power.
Yeah, but if he doesn't have sugar, he could die. So, yeah.
You've got your so right. It's very timely that would come up as you're dealing with the same thing. If I don't let go of this, you're gonna die because you're already dead when you're in your armadillo, right? right?
Sucks.
It's a lot to carry.
It is.
And how beautiful that you choose to take time for yourself, because that enables you to be there. It's by how you're responding to how you're responding to yourself first. Because without that air mask on, you're not good to anybody else. Your mother did the best she could. You know, we're all doing the best we can. And
It's weird how somehow I don't believe it, you know? It's like I know it, you know? I know it logically, I know it rationally, but, you
oh,
know, there's
what?
something in me that doesn't believe that.
Oh, that she did the best she could.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Is it okay? So look at that. So that's, is it resentment? Is it anger? Look,
All of it, yeah.
okay, so go to the resentment.
It's just below the heart, above the solar plexus,
Okay,
and in the throat.
yeah. Is that a comfortable feeling?
No.
It's like you're the one who's feeling, you're the one who's suffering. Look and see, you know, ask what benefit that is to you. What are you gaining out of holding on to that resentment?
That I prevent her from doing it again.
All right, so holding on to resentment is a way for you to protect yourself. What sound does that want?
Ooh.
Ooh. Mhm. Okay, let's sound that silently into that area. Might feel a burning. Just let the resentment be there. What are you feeling now?
I did feel burning. Um, like kind of like acid reflux or something, you know? What am I feeling now? You know, I was noticing that it was kind of, I don't know if staccato is the right word, but there were places of space and there were places of like solidness and they were kind
Yeah.
of ways, you know? So I was trying to ooh into the solid places. Didn't really do anything, but just playing with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does feel, it feels a little more open, less threatening.
Yeah, and here, now look how beautiful that is, because here's the good news. So the rage, that's a little girl's response to being out of control. Because when we're children, at that point, I mean, look at your kid, it's like it's like we don't know any better. We do our best too. And that, that's an appropriate response. Good news is you succeeded. You succeeded, but now you're a full-fledged grown adult. You're a mother with kids of your own, and you've outgrown it. You don't need that anymore. You're not in that situation anymore, and it's so. Look at the more freedom you're feeling right now. You just like cut that umbilical cord of your own symbiotic relationship with that rage.
They were raised like, kind of things coming out anyway, but the resentment was there. There's still something, like it's not totally clear, but it feels like there's more space.
Yeah, and it's a process. It's not mano.
Yeah.
So go to the next level. Does it make sense what you're hearing? And when you respond now, notice where you're speaking from. Just practice going to source spot, because this is what empowers you. Feeling will be there. I think that's another way that we do ourselves a disservice, is that we think when we're X place, enlightened to hear X, there'll be no more feelings. I won't have anything left. Hooey booey. On the other hand, how is it that how am I showing up in my own skin? How am I empowered? How am I, how am I as mother, as leader of me who nobody else knows? And the other really helpful thing about this is, yeah, you shift your focus to your true mother, to your maker. So if you're not trusting that your mother did her best, look inside and find the place where you don't trust that you are doing your best. And put your finger, or, like identify where that is.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Can you feel that rage there? Is it the same? Is it connected or different?
I don't know that rage was, I mean, anger. What does it feel like?
Doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, there's rage. There's rage in there.
Yeah, okay. So just feel that for a moment. And then just feel your butt sitting on the chair. And see, is that really serving you? Is it making you feel good to keep that? Do you really need it? And then, look, like discerning, do you really need that? Is that really what is keeping you safe now?
There's a part of me that believes that it is the part that's holding it, but no, I mean, the rest of me doesn't agree.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it did. Habit, of course, because it's what did. It's like that chrysalis, time to expand. So go to that space and ask what would really support your serenity now.
The sound ah.
Ah, aloud or silent?
Silent.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's do that silent. And as you do that, uh, allow that it's kind of like an ultrasound going into your heart to appreciate what you have done. You have done your best. If you could have done better, would you have? We're always doing our best. So how's it now?
Um, Maybe a little more space. There's sadness coming up. I don't know if it's like disappointment or
It doesn't matter. It's just the energy coming up to be released. And here's the practical application. When you hang up and you go downstairs to your son and the babysitter and your mom and your work day, whatever. Notice, ask yourself, notice what's going on with you and ask pay attention to you, put yourself first. Doesn't mean that you'll necessarily behave differently. Make your priority where you're focusing and keep it focused on you and what feels safe. Nobody has to know what's going on. And just play around, play around with little things at first. Not that there's no right or wrong, but you'll notice little shifts. It can be really fun.
okay.
So what are you taking from today?
I don't know. I guess I'm just like wondering if this is gonna work. Like I'm just feeling like it's pretty far along and I'm hoping for some shifts and I don't know.
Well, one thing's for sure, if you shut it off, it's not going to. You don't have any guarantees. There's no magic pill. And the guarantee is you're already what you're looking for. You're it. and when I get to that place, I ask myself, would I rather be right or would I rather be free and happy?
What am I trying to be right about?
Whatever. Things don't work, when we want guarantees or, because already from that place, it's already futurizing, there's some expectation, which makes sense, especially from that place of the resentment, from the staying safe. And so, yeah, it's very vulnerable. So it's very, very courageous on your part to be willing to, move through that. It's not a comfortable process. It isn't. It's not. It's not. That's why most people don't. It's easier to go back to safety, but then we don't move forward. And then we get to be right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just want to break through. It's just like, it feels like there's a lot, you know?
Well, yeah, so it actually, it's less is more and slow is fast because there's so much resistance, because it is scary. It's like, that's why I'm saying just practice with little things. And if it's too much when you're with someone else, just practice with yourself. Do you believe you can with what we did with the sound?
Yeah, I can do that. I just don't remember, you know, like I forget. I get focused on other people.
I know, well, sweetheart, that's why you have this recording. And that's why you have just little teeny, it's like, even if it's 1 second, that's still 1 second more than it was yesterday that you're focusing on you. And you're a powerful woman. When you focus, you get it, you connect. You're not connecting and running away. I don't experience you that way. When you connect, you feel what's going on. And I'm not referring here to the פרשנות. The פרשנות זה ממש, זה לא לעניין. פרשנות זה עדיין, לברוח לראש, כי אז אני יכול, then we can explain things away. I'm not talking about that. My experience of you is that when you connect there, you are connecting there. I don't sense that you're just saying something. Do you?
No,
Yeah,
I don't lie.
yeah, yeah. So one day at a time. That's all there is.
Okay, thank you.
You're doing great. You're exactly where you need to be.
I'll accept that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So what's one teeny beany thing you'll commit to yourself to try?
I'll work more with the sound in the chakras. And you know, the last time I was doing it, I was also tuning into the source spot in the center of the earth. And you know, as I was sounding, I was trying to sound that up into there. So it's kind of leveraging both of them. And that was interesting. I think there's potential there.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. That's very creative. Wonderful. All right.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. I wish
Have a great week.
you, yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.